Welcome to our RFP Money Story podcast, a space for sharing real money stories and where we dive into real conversations about finance, success, and the lessons I learned along the way. Joining us today is a former Dean of Pamantasang Lungsod ng Pasig and a managing partner in Alpha Minerva Training and Consultancy Incorporation, Dr. Joanna Marie Pina de Manuel, or Joms.
Hi everyone! So it's so good to be here, Gab, and everyone who's going to be watching the money story, which is up on today. So how do we begin po?
All right. Before we start, how are you doing? How are you lately?
Well, I think I'm good. I think it goes with I always believe that God will always redirect us to things that will give us, more value. So right now, as you have introduced me kanina, I am now a managing partner for Alpha Minerva Research and Consultancy. But back then I am a previous Dean of College of Business and Accountancy for Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Pasig. So what am I up to? So still, I'm still educating students on financial literacy, and it's good RFP really helped me with that particular domain. Okay. And what else? So I'm also definitely into research and more on behavioral finance, trying to understand how people think in relation to money. So the geeky stuff yun. Ano pa ba ginagawa ko? So with the not so academic stuff and professional stuff, I am pursuing everything that I'm really passionate about. Traveling, that's one. The Balikalindog program, trying to get fit, those kind of things, and working on, developing the investment portfolio. So pretty much that's it, Gab.
All right, that's great. Yeah. You mentioned RFP a while ago. Before tayo pumunta sa RFP, let's go back to the past. No? Kasi I'm very curious about your personal money journey. So, to proceed to the conversation or to this podcast, what's your first memory of money and how did it shape your financial mindset?
First memory of money. Actually, two words. Mahirap kumita ng pera. Gab, as in, mahirap kumita ng pera. And the other phrase is, kailangan mo magtipid. And that's it. So, why those two things? So, out of context, I came from a family of Filipino, Chinese with a bit of Spanish. So, chop suey. So, it's really chop suey. And then, my grandfather from the mother side, the Chinese, they used to be farmers. We're not really rich. We came from a poor family. So, farmers to. And then, paano sila umunlad? So, they believe that education is the greatest equalizer. So, yung grandfather ko, farmer siya. So, talagang nag-atikha iyon. And then, talagang, they capitalize on farming. Then, they were able to send all 10 kids to school. My mom included, being yung bunso. So, ano yung paulit-ulit na sinasabi sa amin? It's all about, mahirap kumita ng pera, of course, kasi, di ba, they have to till the land like half day. And then pangalawa, kaya na-send nila sa school yung mga anak, yung mga mommy ko, and then yung mga tita ko. It's because of nagtipid. So, imagine, Gab, that's actually my first memory of money. It's not, you can say that it's not really that positive. Ayan. So, that's the first memory. So, how did it shape me, that particular thinking? Ngayon ko na lang kasi nalaman that I am really operating from a level of scarcity. Not really in a level of abundance. So growing up, although my family now is okay, so I'm an only child, my mom is a statistician and dad is a chief engineer in an international vessel. So I'm okay, pero paulit-ulit din kasi. Mahirap kumita ng pera, anak, and then you have to save up, diba? So when I was growing up, I think, kasi Chinese Filipino Chinese. If there's anything that I'd like to buy, besides the basic needs, food, the schooling things, toys, I have to save up money for that. Ayan. So, I need to find a way on how to earn money and then how to save it in order for me to buy the things that I love. So lalong na reinforce. Mahirap kumita ng pera, and then kailangan mong magtipid. Pero I think the good thing about it is that I learned what we call the delayed gratification, which is really, really important pala. So, okay din yung training kasi nagkaroon ako ng that level of confidence that if there's anything that I like, I could get it. I just have to know how to earn money, and I just simply need to save it up. And then eventually, mabibili ko yun. So, you can also say that my framework of money is very simple. Earn, save, that's it. So, earn, save, tapos ang usapan. Yun lang yun.
Okay, so from that earn and then save mindset.
Earn and save.
So growing up, is there any other financial lessons na dapat, aside from saving? Kasi most of our interviewees, yun din yung memory nila.
Yeah.
It's more on saving. But growing up, there's more than that. Is there any financial mantra na dapat natutunan mo na siya when you were younger?
Actually, thank you for that asking that question. I think I should have learned how to multiply. Kasi it was just earning, I was just saving, and that's it eh. But I didn't learn how to multiply. So although my mom did train me on the banking system, and I remember, you have one interview, sabi nga niya, Savers Club. Diyos ko, ang edad namin, nakikita na. No? Yeah, but my mom used to enroll me to that Savers Club. And it's still more on saving eh. I wish I had learned how to multiply. And I think that learning will only come, siguro, talaga nakita ko yung environment. There's a particular environment that will really train you to simply go and earn and save. But there is really an environment that teaches you how to multiply. So I didn't know that, the multiplication of money. Ang alam ko lang hard work and then magtipid. But I think the question there is, hanggang kailan ka magtitipid?
Yes, oo.
At hanggang kailan okay yung work hard and hard work? Kasi, there will always come a time that you will hit the ceiling eh. That saving will always not be enough. And I think we can all take that from, take a 1,000 now, and I'm telling you, Gab, yung 1,000 na before you can, fill up a shopping cart eh. But now I cannot even fill up a shopping cart.
True.
So yung value ng pera ko, it's no longer like it used to. So if we're going to talk about, saving, there's an end of it. There will always be an end to savings. Problema, hindi ko natutunan ng multiplication. I didn't know that. We did learn in school, compounding interest. We did learn in school about computing for annuity and, and all of those future values equals to whatever, and so on and so forth. But I think what we're missing is teaching not only how to multiply it, but how to harness the power of compounding. Again, multiplication. But you see, I didn't learn that. I hope that I did learn that, at a younger age. I think things would have been really different. So yun. Regrets ba? Hindi naman. But I think it's good na natisod na ako along the way. And I realized that multiplication is another part of the equation that will really give you abundance.
Alright, about that multiplication stuff, at what age or kailan ka lang na-expose na, ay, dapat pala nagmumultiply lang ako, hindi lang ako save?
I think you can call it, parang turning point ko. I think the turning point is that, yun nga, so for the longest time, I was only knowing earning money, ganon. And then right after graduation kasi, after graduation, so I decided to, sige na, enough na, kaya ko na tumayo sa sarili kong paa. It's a typical thing pag isang anak ata, yung tatayo ka sa sarili mong paa. So, right after graduation, I decided to pursue the master's program. So remember, di ba, we believe that education is the greatest equalizer.
Yes.
So sabi ko, it's a typical tool of hard work and pag mataas sa pinag-aralan ko, mapopromote ako and then comes in, the money, Pero yun nga, so after graduating, decided to pursue my master's in San Beda University. And syempre, kung after grad ka, Diyos ko po, ang mahal pala ng matrikula sa San Beda. And I didn't ask for any provisions from my family. So yung family ko, I know they can send me to school, but I decided against it. My point being is that, apart from pride, it is more of, ano pang mapapatunayan ko sa sarili, I can stand up on my own. And so I pursued the master's degree. When I pursued the master's degree, I was dealt with insurance payments and then a trimester matriculation. So anong nangyari? Kapos ang sahod ko. Talagang kapos. And I was just starting my career. So naramdaman ko yung mag-ulam ng pansit canton. Naramdaman ko yung pag bumili ako ng 2 Jolly hotdog sa loob ng isang A15 o A30, maglalakad ako. And mind you, Gab, yung distansya ng lalakarin ko from the entrance ng subdivision all the way sa bahay namin ay hindi biro. It's never a joke. It's quite a distance. And then, imagine the budgeting technique and the budgeting skills na kailangan kong gawin just to make things end lang. Parang okay tayo. And so, at one point, sa madalit salita, I kind of went over the budget. Kasi I was celebrating, natapos ko yung isang semester nang nakapasa naman ako doon sa school. And so, I kind of overspent on something. So, in short, naglakad ako. So, while I was walking, imagine, I'm not used to that difficulty. Kasi, okay ako eh. And then ngayon, naglalakad ako. So, sabi ko, teka muna. That's when it hit me. Hanggang kailan yung tipid? Hanggang kailan yung hard work? Here I am, I'm trying to invest on my education. And here I am, a 4-year graduate. I'm walking. And then you call it what? Success? Diyos ko, Lord. It's not even successful. I am hardworking, but I'm not seeing it. I'm sure a lot of fresh graduates have experienced that. Wala kang pinupuntahan. Pangalawa, savings baka mo? My goodness, I'm so good with budgeting. Pero bakit ako naglalakad? Bakit ako hirap na hirap? So kasabay noon, habang naglalakad ako, syempre I have to endure and enjoy the journey. Diba? Ganun lang naman yun eh. So while walking, then I realized until I started challenging those two things. Until when should we rely on hard work to earn money? Sabi ng school, the basic economic circular flow of the economy tells us that household and then there's the firm and money is simply circulating there. So I think it's not about hard work. Maybe it's not difficult to earn money. It's just that I am not equipped with the knowledge of how. So instead of saying, mahirap kumita ng pera, maybe I should start saying, how will I earn money easily? And I started asking those questions. Kasi the concepts are already there. The theories are already there. We're looking at it differently. Yun ang problema natin, Gabi. So, money is circulating. Ang tanong, hindi mo alam paano ka gagrab dun sa umiikot na yon. So, meron silang alam, hindi ko alam yon. And then, the point of magtipid ka and then save up, I started questioning that too. So, savings? How come my 100 pesos can no longer buy me the same thing that I have now? So what is the problem? I know of inflation in school, but I only realized the impact of inflation when I started walking that distance, when I started having that difficulty. Hindi ko alam paano magbabayad ng matrikula. Hindi ko alam kung paano ako kakain ng tanghalian para makabayad ko yung lahat ng bills ko. So you can call it like a turning point kasi from that point onward, when I started asking those questions, I started looking for answers. And because of that, I kind of stumbled the book of Robert Kiyosaki. Everybody knows them. So it's the cash flow quadrant. And for the first time, I understood, the relationship between the statement of financial standing, back in the day we call it the balance sheet, and the cash flow. I mean, rather the statement of financial performance. Now I understood what it meant. That it's not just about saving. The one way of me multiplying my income is to really invest on asset that generates additional income. So I have been used to the saying, you buy a land and then you call it what? An asset. You buy something like a car and that is an asset. You buy a good phone, that is an asset. Pero what the cash flow quadrant told me is that as long as this asset are not earning me anything, they're not considered asset. So that's a game changer for me, Gab. It's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So from there on, I started saving with a purpose. So I haven't forgotten about the things I was taught to. Di mo naman kailangang itapon kung anong pinanggalingan mo. You just simply need to upgrade it. So we call it now innovation. So I've started saving with a purpose. I started saving up, not just to pay for the matriculation but I started saving up para ang gawain ko, mag-invest na ako ngayon. And I stumbled on the stock market, which I'm very passionate about. So I started saving on stock market. Tapos yung trabaho ko, doon ko na-realize, isa pala sa comfort zone ng family namin, we also, di ba, we value hard work. We also value loyalty. So ibig sabihin, if you go, yung wag ka namang yung job hopper, our family is against it, no? Kasi nga loyalty daw. But I realized sometimes you have to make those painful decisions and I get out of your comfort zone. And one thing is leaving the present job because it's not earning me anything. And then channel it to, well, yun nga, I entered the BPO. During our time, if you are in the BPO sector at ikaw ay graduate, syempre sasabihin nila, bakit nasa call center ka? Diba? Ang daming ganun Bakit nasa call center ka, graduate ka, should be somewhere else. The next thing that the one thing that I also learned is to shut people off. Ibig kong sabihin, you have your own life. I also have my own business here. Started minding my own business. Yes. The reason why I'm here, I needed a bigger pay. And the reason why I'm here is because ang daming dyan. Ang daming performance bonuses. I need those performance bonuses because I'm building a portfolio of equity. These are assets. These are earning me money. So ano nangyari? Ang nangyari tuloy, namumultiply ko dahan-dahan yung sarili ko, Gab. I am working as a call center agent before, and then at the same time, my small portfolio is starting to earn me something. So ngayon, ang nangyari, empleyado ako, na naging investor ako, and they're giving me money. So what am I trying to say is that I started earning money passively. It starts to increase those income. Hanggang sa nakatapos ako na master's degree, and the next thing that I did was I shifted na for a while. I stayed in the industry working, pero na-realize ko the value of time. The value of time means that yes, the industry can give you really high salary, but if it consumes your time, and if it consumes your creativity, baka talo ka. You're earning what, 60,000, 100,000? But you're working for what? Baka nagtatrabaho na ako para sa kumpanya. But what about me? Nakakalimutan ko na to. So I shifted to another industry. But habang nag-shift ako ng ibang industry, ang magandang nangyari, when you're in the teaching profession, not only that you do good things for the kids, but at the same time, you get to have a lot of ways of earning money. You can do talks. You can do what? Other sidelines mo. So, ano ang sunod? Di ba nga, I became more focused with multiplying money. That includes multiplying yourself as well. So, it's never enough to do hard work Dapat may pagka-blue ocean strategy ka pala. Dapat, you have to teach yourself skills that are highly demandable in the market. So kung nandito ka, you're teaching, they will pay you a teacher's fee. But if you started understanding how the market works and what services they really need, sa totoo lang, they're most willing to pay you. People hated math. I hated math too. But my mom and dad are good with math. Pero hindi ko naman na yun eh. My high school teachers can say that. But I did my best to learn math. Why math? Because people hated math and I will be solving the problem for them. People hated writing. I hated writing too. Pero ano nangyari? Ay, because you hated writing too. How many people here hated writing? About 80% perhaps. I taught myself how to write. Bakit? I will solve that problem to you. So it's not about hard work. The rule of the game is to solve as many problems as you can. Because people will pay for those solutions. And that's a game changer for me. So it's not just about multiplying. Multiplying is more on the money that you save up. But the hard work aspect, it's not about hard work, it's about working smart. You start solving societal problems and they're so happy to pay you. So yun yung nangyari. So what I'm saying, Gab, is that although I did mention earlier that I was thinking more on the scarcity aspect pero hindi. Let us not forget where we came from. Ang ginawa lang po natin is that from the things that I came from, I tried to innovate that. Para hindi ko makalimutan yung cultural aspect ko, yung pamilya ko, but at the same time, ma-anchor ko yan sa mundo. And that's it.
Right. So basically, sinustentuhan mo yung masters mo on your own.
Yeah, actually everything. The masters now, the doctoral program.
Up until now.
Yep, I did.
Okay, kasi that's the first time that I heard na yung multiplying stuff about financial lesson. Kasi, I've heard so many times na people invest. Siguro that's another term for multiplying na rin. Kasi you mentioned that you invested.
Yeah.
Diba? You're stuck into that situation na yung pera, labas na labas. Konti lang yung pumapasok sa'yo, but at the same time, it's not enough still.
Yeah.
So, I'm just curious, did you do double jobs?
Double jobs? Like,
while you're on BPO?
No, I didn't. But I harnessed yung mga tawag sila dun yung mga performance bonuses.
Okay.
Like yung may mga sales dati, diba?
Commissions.
Commissions. Gumaling ako dun sa sales. Because there's money there
Yeah, motivated talaga.
Yes. Everything take a different turn. Nung naglakad. I think it was the lakad factor
Dami realization nung naglakad ka.
Oo, naglakad kasi nahirapan ako
Totoo. So up until now, nag-backflash pa rin sa memory na yun, or it became just a memory and then you shared it with your parents na this is something that I didn't learn from you, ganon.
I think that particular memory, it served as a reminder. It's a humbling experience. It's a reminder, pag ngayon nakakakita ko ng Jolly Hotdog, ano mga bagay na hindi ko mabili, nakakwento ko yun. Ano ba dati, pag 2 beses ako kumain na maglalakad ako? Alam mo ba dati, pag bibili ako, kailangan ko talagang titigan ng maigi yung menu. Kasama nung presyo. At kasabay nun ang pagbunot ng calculator. I have to. Because I cannot afford them.
Yeah.
Pero ngayon, I am blessed. Kaya ko na silang bilihin.
Diba? Kahit walang occasions, nabibili mo siya. That's really great. And I'm a bit curious about sa investments na minention mo kanina. What kind of investments?
That I started with the equity, the stock market. So right now I'm forming my own portfolio. I also do the rebalancing. So in terms of investing style, syempre may mga good points and bad points. I didn't reach this portion ng if I didn't pay the quote-unquote matriculation of mistakes. Yeah. But now I'm currently forming my own portfolio, which gives me cash. And siguro magandang malaman what I've how did I traverse that ngayon na medyo okay na. Kasi ang dami ko ding investment mistakes, mind you. So, I made a lot of investment mistakes. And siguro mag-start muna ako sa equities. With equities po, I remember there was this, I didn't know about diversification, by the way. Didn't know about diversification. And how did I learn that? I have a pool of money. So I think I became arrogant kasi when I had that money kasi, di ba nag-save nga ako. And then, kasi nung mga first na nag-invest ako, trading pala ang tawag doon, hindi investing. So when I was trading my money, I was earning. Uy, nag-jackpot yung basura. Basura stocks is the stock na tinatawag na lang, the typical highly tradable stocks. So basura stocks we call it. So nagte-trade ako ng mga basura stocks and I was earning. So I became arrogant. Pero hindi ko alam yung diversification. So how did I learn diversification? So I traded a particular stock. I'm not going to mention it. It's a mining company. So I traded everything. Ngayon, ang style ko kasi noon, babasa ko financial statement. Pero nakikinig ako sa mga forums. Mga forum. So kinig naman ako sa forum. I place all of my money dun sa stock. Sa madalit salita, hinahype yung stock. Ako naman kinig. So ako naman bili. So to cut this long story short, from that particular investment, I lost 200 plus na thousand. For somebody that's starting, and for somebody that saved up to that portion, malaki yun. As in, malaki yun. Hindi yun maliit na bagay. So, mga around that much at Diyos ko, naalala ka pa yung 200 kasi bumaba ako na para mag-ice cream. Kasi, diba? Luging-lugi ka na. So, I learned diversification because of that particular failure. I also learned to do your own analysis and not rely on other people to tell you what to do. Lalo na kung pera pag-uusapan. Because their reality is different from yours. Sila pwedeng sobrang aggressive, ikaw, panic button, grabe, hindi ka ganong aggressive. So, I learned those things. But the most important thing that I've learned is to give, to respect red flags. Totoo. To respect a red flag and to respect yung tinatawag nating cut loss. I didn't have those principles pa. Kasi alam ko ng red flag yung company, but because somebody was telling me, okay lang yan, kay rebels yan, ganito yan. Nagkaroon ako ng attachment dun sa stock. Diba? Parang relasyon lang no? Red flag. So, ayun. So, nagkaroon ako ng attachment dun. So, I was not selling the stock. At wala din akong stop loss principles. So, in short, bumagsak, and here I am, di suck it yung ko, yung malaking loss ng time na yon. So, that was it. So, I learned, yung mga basic things na dapat matutunan ko from that particular investment, bubu na ginawa ko. So, that was one. And then from there, sabi ko nga, hindi naman pwede ma-stuck na lang ako with the loss. I need to learn from it. I need to stand and I need to learn from it. Diba? So, tama naman. Education is the greatest equalizer. Parang top skill ko yata mag-aral. So, I studied stock market. And good thing, yun nga, Marvin is, yung nagsusulputan na sino Marvin, which happens to also be part of RFP, diba?
Yes.
There. So, may dami siyang and then I was listening to him and I was trying and testing everything. Up to a certain point, nakakreate ako ng sabihin na nating investing style that's very me. So I do diversification now. Although it's about not putting your eggs into one basket thingy, but meron pa rin akong sense of focus. So I only focus on equities with solid fundamentals and that is capable of giving really good dividends. So yun ang point of focus ko, pero highly diversified siya. So that's one. I think it will take care of me for the retirement. Other investments, syempre we need protection. So, yes, the insurance, no? Sabi nga lang nila, di ba, parang insurance, baka scam yan. No, it's not. I think that is one important thing I learned from RFP eh. Insurance. It's there to protect you and to give you peace of mind. And I think now, no, peace of mind is the most important thing that you can have. It's peace of mind. So, ano pa, emergency fund, and I keep it to digital box. Kasi they give good rates. Other investments, Gabi, hindi ko alam kung you'd consider it investment. Pero sa akin kasi oo, I invested on me. I invested on learning. I invested yun. Kaya siguro I push it all the way to the doctoral program. And I also took certification courses. If you're going to ask me now, bakit? Aminin na natin, madaling mag-close ng business deal when you have a DR on the first part of your name. Because you build credibility eh. Yun lang naman yun eh. Yes, you learn something. You learn the fundamentals. And I'm always thankful for San Beda for teaching me really good things. Pero for practical sense, madaling mag-close ng deal when you have a DR in front of your name. Madaling magtiwala ang tao sa'yo kapag yung packaging mo okay ka. So, kumpletuhin ko na. So, yun. So, those were my investments and I'm included there.
Actually, that answers my next question. Kasi I was about to ask yung, what are the investments that you invested before that it didn't work out? But since you already answered that, regarding dun sa, I don't know, did you just focus on one investment or sabay-sabay na siya?
Dahan-dahan. I build it talagang isa-isa.
Alright. And then, dun sa pagbo-budget, ano yung strategy mo in budgeting? Are you meticulous type? Just go with the flow? Or do you have a specific sheets na traditional, digital, monitoring? What kind of stuff?
Sabihin nila natin meticulous, data-driven. So how OC? Yes, I have those sheets. I advocate for looking into yourself as if you are a business. So ako yung business mismo, sabi ko. So I started managing me as how anyone will run a business. So I have those sheets, literal. I track my expenditures. I literal na para akong nagbabudget talaga. Same way with, my coworkers will this is something relatable to them. Same way with how the government will do their AIPs, their budget. I do that with me as well. So, sinunod, yung iba kasi, di ba, sinusunod nila like 20% goes for your savings and all of those things. So, somehow, sinunod ko yun. Now, before I've heard of 10% and the 20% parang savings rate, talagang nag-stick ako talaga sa 20%. Basta 10 to 20%. Not because I've heard of it, it's because I learned that from San Beda. Kasi sabi ng prof ko sa accountancy, for the industry standard, the best net profit margin is between 10% and 20% is already excellent. So when I've heard that, ako net profit margin, so ano yun pag akin? Savings rate mo. And so I pegged it. Net profit margin ko savings in the usual sense should be around 20%. And the 80%, ayun, so dinivide, kinategorize ko na. So I've seen there na 60% pala yung mga ano ko, and then yung whatever is left, yun na nga, parang 20 din is for the good stuff. Pero minsan depende eh. Kasi may mga nung wala pa ako emergency fund, may biglang may biglang dumadating na bigla ang gastos. So, nasa-shock ka. So, I think that's the part where I've learned of emergency fund. So, parang galto, natututo ako sa kapalpakan ko.
Totoo naman.
Oo. It was me failing forward. I learned from my failures actually. And then, nakita ko sa RFP, dapat may emergency fund. Yung pala yun. Parang na-reinforce kasi ng organization.
Alright, so since let's go to the RFP now.
Yeah.
How did you discover RFP and what motivated you to join or pursue RFP?
Honestly, I don't know that there's such thing as RFP.
Really?
Yes. It was only when I was defending a dissertation, still in San Beda, for the doctoral program. Kasi thesis pag master's, and then dissertation for the doctoral program. So my paper is more of quantifying Filipino behavior on investing. And I was bragging during the defense that I do equities. In fact, I showed yung kung ano naman pinagagagawa ako. And then there was this one panel member who told me, parang, oh, you wanted to quantify yung Filipino behavior. But you're not even an RFP. So he knows RFP. So ako naman di ko alam. Sabi ko, ano yun? Ganun ako. If you want me to believe you with your proposal, quantifying human behavior, you have to pass the RFP certification because that is useless. Imagine on the defense. So ako naman, sabi ko ay, kuya, hindi yung katulad mong hihinto sa akin because I need to have that DR in front of my name. For practical purposes, it's so easy to close deal with the DR. Yun lang naman yun. So there. So ano nangyari? So I searched for RFP. And then yun nga, nalaman ko, it's also coincidentally dito din sa TechTite, no? The old PSC Tower. And I met Henry. So we talked. And then I go, yun pala yung RFP. And so right there and then, I enrolled. So I enrolled. And it was so fun. Kasi the things that I learned from my failures, it was reinforced by the program. And then the things that I don't know, lalong tinuro ng program. And it was so practical. Tapos ang pinakamaganda doon, the concepts, the theories that I know in college, in master's, and even the doctoral program, dinidiscuss ng RFP, pero may practical sense. So that's the 50% super amazing with the program. But I think the other 50% is about meeting people in the industry who will, who you can be part with and who will be able to take you, who understands your journey. Hindi ka mukhang weirdo sa kanila. And it's a very good circle. It's a healthy circle if you wanted to really be successful. Parang you have to be in that place. So, ganun ko tingnan yung RFP. Parang, pabuti na lang sinuggest mo kasi napilitan ako mag-RFP. So, imagine, the industry leaders, kausap mo face-to-face. And, when you're in the academe, there's always this notion na kapag yung tao medyo mataas ang pinag-aralan, parang ang hirap lapitan. Na-intimidate ka. But with RFP, things are different These people, these are financial rock stars, the best of the best in the industry. And it's so easy to talk to them. So easy to ask them questions. So sabi ko, good thing that I decided to be part of the entire program. After being part of that program, ayun nga, so I pursued the defense. Luckily, I passed naman the defense. Diba, may defense tayo. Saka ako bumalik sa school. Saka ako tinuloy yung defense, showing now an RFP license. At tinanggap ako ng panel ko. Kasi I think, just a quick lang, with San Beda kasi, what they do naman is that, hindi ka pwedeng makatapos ang ganyan kung hindi ka industrialist. So, hindi ka pwedeng puro ka academic. So, kailangan, magtitiwala kami sa'yo kung lisensyado ka. Kasi kung hindi ka lisensyado, wala, you're useless yung sinasabi mo. Theory lang siya. Hindi mo na-test And I think, RFP gave me that, ibang level of confidence. When I was facing the panel, I simply talk about money. It was so fluid and people were actually listening. Not only that when you take that RFP knowledge with you, naiintindihan mo galawan ng mundo. You become so practical. You started looking, hindi kasi ganito yan. Bahala ka sa buhay mo. I'll be doing my things. And mas naging maliwanag yung umiikot lang pala talaga ang pera. Madaling kumita ng pera. You just have to understand how and what will you do to have it. Yun.
Alright, so before ka maging member ng RFP, you mentioned that one of your inspiration in financial literacy is the book that you mentioned a while ago. Now that you're in RFP, sorry, how long have you been an RFP member?
Before pandemic, I believe 2017.
17. So almost 7 years?
Yeah.
All right, so for that almost 7 years, or let's say 7 years exactly, I assume na you've met a lot of people. It came to you na rin na professionally, you've met a lot of people, you engage with them. What is the best financial advice that you get from them? And then, is there anything that you would like to recommend to other people na hindi part ng RFP na you would like to encourage them to join RFP about financial planning?
Yeah, I think the best lesson still is changing the framework. I think it's more on when dealing with business handling, you find things that gives value to people first. You solve problems first. And whenever that you're able to solve problems, you get paid for it. But something that I learned, and I learned this from Fritz Villaferte, that you have to create a system that allows you, syempre at first you are the system but you have to create that system in such a way that it becomes automated. You know, kasi pag automated na siya, dahan-dahan pwede ka na mag-withdraw. And you started earning money, residual na lang. And by doing that, you get now your time. You start paying for people's time to do things for you. You earn money using residuals. And then what do you do with your free time? Pwede mo na ngayong gawin yung iba. But I think, before, pag sabi ko, pag ako may free time, probably rarakit pa rin ako. That was me before. But now, it was more of, if I have free time, it is now more of educating people. Take you from a level of scarcity mindset to that something level of abundance. Kung katulad kita noon, earn and save, I hope that I could encourage everybody to shift it to earn, save, then multiply. And I think that has been one of the purpose of the program, of the RFP. RFP is, yes, you will pay for it, but I think it's a very good investment in the sense that it will teach you the ways of the world. It will teach you, how to manage your money properly so that that money will actually work for you. And then it will teach you how to deal with almost everything related to commerce. So it's a good skill. Kasi, yes, you're good with your profession, you know how to earn money. But if you don't know how to manage it properly, mawawala yan talaga sa'yo. Katulad din kita dati, sasabihin mo, mahirap kumita ng pera. At katulad din dati yon, sasabihin mo pa rin, magtipid ka, maghigpit ka ng sinturon mo, kasi yun ang dapat. Pero again, we are created thinking of abundance and good provisions. So it's not always like that. I think what we need to do now is to learn the right way of cash handling. And RFP, the program, can actually teach everybody that skill. Kasi kung hindi, siguro hanggang 65, wala Kudkod na yung likod ko, magtatrabaho pa rin ako. But I can say, no, hindi na ganun ngayon. And it is all because of the sum and total of knowledge that I learned from that full journey. And RFP will always and definitely will be part of it.
Is that the same thing that you share or educate with other people? Because you mentioned a while ago that you're educating to other people, right?
Yeah, definitely. The students of the Pamantasan do know me. They know me of that. So I believe with experiential learning. So I let them do the business. And whenever I have those classes, tinuturo ko yun sa kanila. Lagi ko pinapush, teka muna, nakagraduate ka. Yun na ba yun? No, you have to learn how to multiply.
What's your parang since students, diba, fresh grads, nag-explore pa lang to adulting life, ano yung parang best recommendation mo to them to, step up in their comfort zone in saving money?
I have a different advice kasi for fresh grads. The first one is you have to learn how to be compassionate to yourself. Yun muna. Kasi yung mga bagets ngayon, nakakatawa, they put a lot of pressure on themselves. Because they were thinking, eto kasi nakita ko sa Facebook, I should be this. Sa totoo lang, turn off Facebook. Because their definition of success will always be different with yours. Your definition of success might be, kailangan may sasakyan ako para mukha akong mayaman. No, it's not. Yeah, they have cars, but they're also paying a lot of debts. You call that rich? No, they look like rich. But being rich is not looking one. It's about feeling it. Diba? So, yun lang. For bagets, I always say, first thing, you have to be compassionate to yourself muna. Turn off your Facebook. Mind your own business. Ask yourself, what does rich life means to you? How do you define it? Success is really subjective. You have to define it first and then plan your life from there. I always advocate for teaching yourself skills, learning new things, and never stop learning. Because the things that you know now will really, really put you into a spot of success. Pero syempre, hindi mo ma-achieve yung success kung hindi mo alam how it looks like, how it feels like, or what is it like. So you have to define those things first. Kasi kung hindi mo alam yon, you're trying to work for somebody else's definition of success. So, yun muna.
Alright. So, it's a bit interesting lang, no? Kasi before ka mag-join ng RFP, it seems like you're knowledgeable enough in handling your own money, your finances, and making your financial decisions, ganyan. But ever since you joined RFP, did you see any improvement on yourself, or how did RFP help you in your financial decision making?
Ay, malaki. Again, I'll always go back to my framework. Kasi now save, and then before RFP, there's multiplication. But I didn't know risk management. I didn't know that. So, gaano ka-importante yung risk management? So, context lang. Pag nakakarinig ako ng insurance prior to RFP, kis talaga sa akin yan before. Kasi sabi ko, bakit ako kukuha ng insurance kaya ako i-trade ang pera ko? Baka, the skeptic one. Yeah. But with RFP, I learned how to protect money. I learned how to protect myself that earns money. And I learned to protect my other assets. Yung bagay na yun, napaka-importante nun. Kaya pala ako takot sa insurance, it's because I never understood how it works. I never understood what those fact sheet means. Thank goodness, RFP taught me about Sharpe ratio. Thank goodness, tinuro niya sa akin how to read those things. Because without those knowledge, mananatili akong ganun pa rin ang tingin sa insurance. Tama din naman, di ba? You will hate things that you're fearful of. You hated things that you never understood. So kung gusto mo ma-overcome yung fear na yun, you have to face it. How do you face it? Teach yourself. Tinuro sa akin ng RFP yun. Emergency fund, natutunan ko yun kasi nagipit ako. I think I did mention that. Yeah. There's this biglaang gastos and all of those things. You know what RFP told me is to really set aside an emergency fund. Dedicated for those, yung savings siya, dapat ganito to cover for other expenses. Gaano kahalaga yon? It gave me peace of mind. Na parang, okay lang. Nasira ba baterya ng sasakyan? Ako, Diyos ko, yun kasi biglaan yun minsan eh. Sira ba baterya ng sasakyan? It's okay, I have an emergency fund for that. Meron ba kailangang repair sa bubong? Okay na. May savings dyan. Hindi katulad nung dati. Pag nasira ang sasakyan, pag ganito-ganito ang nangyari, shit, saan ko kukuhanin?
Antayin mo pa yung sahod.
Antayin ko yung sahod. Maghahanap ako ng racket to patch it up.
Yeah.
But the peace of mind that was robbed off you, ibang usapan yun. But with RFP now, it's okay. Kasi tinuro mo niya sa akin yung emergency fund yung risk management aspect. So, I could say, multiplication, natutunan ko prior to RFP. Yung savings budgeting, natutunan ko with RFP. But imagine, after going through the program, nandun pa rin yung Raika moment ay shit, ang dami ko pa palang hindi alam. That's one thing that I discovered kasi parang parang kumbaga parang ilang taon ako nag-aral talaga eh. I learned that the more I learn about things, the more ignorant I feel. Pero happy ka. Kasi parang, ay, kulang pa pala yung alam ko. I have to learn more things. So before you know it, nag-evolve ka ng hindi mo alam.
Alright. So for the sake of our viewers and listeners, especially, hindi naman natin alam yung age range. May adult, may young, may, Gen Z, millennial, boomer. Is there something that you want to share or any valuable lesson that you want to recommend or advise to them about financial planning?
About financial planning, I will always go back to that. The first thing that you have to do when you do your financial planning is you define what success is really for you. So do not ever let anybody define that for you. Because defining success is so personal. That's the first thing. Kasi pag alam mo what success is, how it feels like, how it tastes like, what does it look like, then it's so easy to do your financial planning. Because you know what to work for. Meron ka ng vision eh. Diba? Same way with how we handle a company. Diba the first thing that we do is we set up a vision. So I have to envision. Ano ba yung successful life for me? Because once I have that vision, then I will know how should I act. And that's going to be my mission. So my mission is that, diba, everything works in circular. So if I wanted something, I should be prepared to give up something. Yes. Yun naman ang walk of life eh. Hindi ka pwedeng puro kabig. Kailangan matuto kang magbigay kung may gusto kang tanggapin. And that goes with the mission. So, what am I expected? What is it expected of me in order to achieve that vision? And after that, alam mo, you start your planning na eh. Talagang magsisimula ka na, I will now break down the goals. Kasi sisimulan mo nang tingnan yung sarili mo eh. Parang, ano ako, where am I now? Ano yung financial state ko? Harapin mo pala yun. Never, do not live in delusion. Huwag kang delulu. So, don't be a delulu. Na feeling mo successful ka, pero hindi ka talaga ganun. So, you have to face and meet that question of, where am I now? What is now my financial status? So, for government employees, we do our SALN, Statement of Asset, Liability, and Net Worth. So, good na yon. And then you also need to know, your financial performance, your income, and less your expense. So, similar to how a company will do it. And then, pag nalaman mo na kung ano yung current state mo, try to prioritize. Ano ba kailangan nating i-build? May emergency fund ka na ba? Baka wala pa. Kaya lagay ko, yun muna una gawin mo. Why the emergency fund? Because it gives you peace of mind. Something that I learned, Gab, the things that we do in RFP and the things that we do, in cash management is really to achieve one thing, peace of mind. Why do you need to have that emergency fund first? Because of peace of mind. Anything happens, you have easy cash to patch on those things. Yeah. Kasi kung wala ka nun, puro ka naman investment, at yun ako pala, by the way, you will be forced to divest your investment prematurely. So, sayang. You could have earned much more, pero you have to divest easily and at an early stage. Kasi, meron ka mga emergencies. Kung may emergency fund ka, hindi ka kinakabahan, okay ka. Now, if you're laid with debt, you have to face those debt. Bayaran mo. Diba? If you have to haggle to the bank na bayaran ko lahat, tanggalin mo na yung ibang interest, try to do that. Try to talk to people. Kasi, one thing na ugali ng Pilipino, nakakahiya namang tanungin, huwag kang mahiya. Okay lang yun, tanungin mo. Is it okay to refinance my debt? Babayaran ko, pero ito yung kaya kong gawain. Talk to your financial institutions. They will really listen to you because at the end of the day, mababawi pa rin naman nila yung kinita nila sa'yo. Bakit hindi sila makikinig sa'yo? Ang importante, magbayad ka ng utang. Importante yon. Bukod sa karma, sa utang, ang karma, maliit lang yung inutang sa'yo pag hindi mo binayaran. Sila din pati reputasyon mo eh. That's difficult. So that. And then, once you have these things fixed, okay ka na, you have the coverage, the protection, and all of those things. Yung dahan-dahan, you start, start putting something with your investments. If you don't know how to do investing, pag-aralan mo. Pero kung hindi talaga kaya, you don't have time, let somebody manage your investments for you. Pero again, pag-aralan mo pa rin. Kasi bakit dapat pag-aralan mo yung investments mo? Kasi para hindi ka nagtitiwala blindly. Niloloko ka na pala, hindi mo pa rin alam. Diba? You will not know So, ayun. So, mas madali kasing kumilos pag naiintindihan mo saan ka at ano yung gusto mong ma-achieve. Diba? Yun Kailangan when you do your financial planning, it has to be done strategically. And if you have to write notes for that, then do the work. Kasi, at the end of the day, bakit ka ba nagtatrabaho? Diba? If hindi mo masagot, ang sagot mo para maunlad ng buhay, dapat tanungin mo sarili mo. What is that maunlad na buhay for you? Because if you cannot define that, you will end up growing old and then, wala. Para magtatanong ka, kulang palang pension ko, anong nangyari? And mind you, Gab, there had been a lot of senior citizens that has that same question. Kapos ang pension ko. So kung pinagplanuhan mo pala ang buhay mo, hindi mo sasabihin yan.
Alright, that's great. I really like what you just said. Parang, parang it really reflect in our life, lalo na kapag insurance, it's a necessity.
Yes.
Yeah, ang dami ko rin kasi naririnig. I mean, in my early 20s, parang pinipilit nila na dagdag lang sa gastos yung insurance. Diba? Pero I just realized na nga naman, it's a necessity in our life, lalo na in the future. That's really great. It's very interesting. I really like what you just said. And before we wrap things up, is there anything that you want to promote? If you have a book, you have your social media account that, it's open to public.
Nah. Currently, I'm just dealing with things now, but nothing to promote naman.
All right, that's great. Well, that actually ends. And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you love diving into money stories as much as we do, make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, or visit our official website at rfp.ph for more financial insights. Until next time, keep chasing those money moves.